My name's Dave DeBoe, founder of MoneyPartnerFormula.com, and this show is built for everyday real estate investors who are actively doing deals and looking to scale using other people's money. So if you're an active real estate investor and you want to get featured on this show to talk about your own real estate and capital raising experiences, then just go to daveinterviewsyou.com. Now let's get rolling with this episode, and remember to subscribe for daily interview content. You know what I really admire about some real estate entrepreneurs is that they really hit the ground running when it comes to doing deals. I mean, I thought it was kind of a hot shot back in the day. I did 18 deals in 18 months when I first got started. Our guest today has got a very, very similar path, volume of deals, but he's done even more than that because Jeremy Rice, zooming in all the way from beautiful outskirts of Atlanta, Georgia, is a very active flipper, buy, fix, and sell real estate entrepreneur. And I love his story, how he got started as an acquisitions manager for somebody else and then figured out where the money really is and got into business for himself. So, Jeremy, welcome to the call. Great to have you here, my friend.
I appreciate you having me, Dave. Looking forward to it.
All right. So, you started off in the flipping business, working for somebody else as an acquisitions manager. That's kind of fascinating to me. So tell me, first of all, A, how did you hear about the job? B, what kind of previous experience did you bring into it to be an acquisition manager? And what was kind of that whole experience like working for somebody else doing this?
Yeah, so I had probably about going into this, I had like 5 years of sales experience. I had been working in the insurance industry, so selling home auto insurance policies, right? So I got the gist of doing sales. I got pretty good at it, and
Now, were you at
throughout those
in somebody's office or were you out on the street doing sales for insurance?
in the office, it was all
Yeah.
phone sales. So phone sales with an agency owner. It was actually for an all-state agency, and so I got good at sales. I got good on the phone. I got good at talking to people. The whole time throughout that 5 year period of doing insurance sales, though, my passion was always real estate. So during that time of doing insurance sales, every dime I could get, I'd save up. Bought my first house in 2020, lived in it, moved out of it, turned it into a rental, and was just learning as I was going. So real estate was kind of always the passion project on the side, although I didn't really get into doing deals.
Yeah.
So at some point, I actually got a recruiter reached out to me and brought me this opportunity to become an acquisitions manager. And the first thing I thought was, oh, well, the numbers on this sound really, really good. They were paying pretty well for sales, so it's commission based, but their expectations were to make quite a bit of money.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what first intrigued me. And as I started, first interview and meeting with them and everything like that, I realized that this is just a really good opportunity because it's mixing my skill set of sales with my passion of real estate.
Mm-hmm.
So I quickly jumped on the opportunity and kind of hit the ground running with them, and I had some pretty quick success working with them and doing those acquisitions.
Very cool. So walk us through, what does acquisitions look like when you're working for a flipping company? Are you generating leads? Are they providing you with leads and you're following up with them? How does that kind of look? Are you doing everything over the phone or did you have to go meet with people and talk face to face? What did that kind of look like for you?
Yeah, so every company does it entirely differently, right? The company I worked for, they did actually fix and flip houses. So you'll hear a lot of these wholesalers and companies that kind of just get contracts and then sell contracts.
Mm-hmm.
This company did indeed buy and fix up the houses. Sometimes they would fix them up, sometimes they would sell them as is. The process of what I did was it was all inbound leads. So for anyone that doesn't know, an inbound lead means that they reach out to us, right? So we're not cold calling, we're not generating leads. I was entirely a closer. So, in the industry, there's the appointment setters, and then the people that go on the appointments and close the deal, get the contract signed, and do the negotiation. So I was entirely the closers. And so really my day would be answering phone calls, and there was a kind of a growth period where I started by setting appointments and closing, and then it transitioned to where I got really good at closing, and they said, okay, let's get someone else to do the appointment setting. Let's just get you in more doors to close deals. And
Nice.
so that's really where I shined, right? Was closing, and it was entirely in terms of the phones was for setting appointments and qualifying and disqualifying leads and those types of things. But once the appointment was set, it was all in person. So it was a pretty drastic change from doing phone sales and insurance, but it was also
I would
pretty
imagine.
drastic. Yeah, it was also a pretty drastic change in terms of what you're actually selling, even though we're buying, right?
Yeah.
Because insurance, as an example, not to discount it, it still takes some sales chops, but you're selling auto insurance. Somebody legally has to
Yeah.
have it.
They got to have it. Yeah.
They
There's
got
no,
to have it. So it's quite frankly often selling on price. You're selling on who can get you the best price. And then you move to something like this where I mean, I'm selling someone on the idea of me buying their house for a very discounted rate.
yeah, you're selling them on taking a very low price for their property. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's very much a value sell, as they say, right? Where we're selling on everything but the price.
Yeah.
It's like you're not going to be getting the highest price, but you're going to be getting the quick close and all the other
All
benefits, the quick
cash
close and the
and yeah.
all cash, the easy transaction, the let you stay in the house if you need to stay in the house, the take over your tenants if you don't want to evict them yourself, all that kind of stuff, right? But yeah, I mean, to give you an idea, it was intense though. It was intense. I mean, I'd be going into somebody's house and there were appointments that would last for 30 minutes. Usually those ones would be when I would be kicked out for them not liking my offer. Uh,
Yeah,
there would
imagine that
be
happened. You develop a pretty thick skin, I imagine.
Yeah, no, you do. And then there'd be on the other end of the spectrum, there'd be I think my longest in-person appointment while working there was 4 hours.
Hmm.
Sitting in someone's home for 4 hours talking everything under the sun, right? All about their problems, their family, their situation of whatever it is they're going through, whether it be a foreclosure or a probate situation or XYZ lost their job, whatever it is. So yeah, I mean, it was a pretty big opportunity to build strong relationships with people because again, you're selling them on a night on a low price.
Yeah.
So it was usually about them really wanting to work with me as an individual, and trusting that I could do what I say I can do for them.
So at what point did the light bulb go off and you decided, hey, I'm getting pretty good at this. Why don't I start my own flipping company?
So the pretty quickly, I've always been pretty ambitious. I always knew I wanted to be a business owner. At the Allstate agency when I was doing insurance sales, I was always talking to my boss about it. How I want to get into owning my own business at some point. And so I kind of went into this job with the understanding that if I succeeded, the path would probably be moving on to starting my own company.
Mhm.
I did not know if that was going to be in, 6 months, 2 years, 4 years, 5 years, who knows, right? Turns out it was 6 months. So I stayed at this company for 6 months. And those 6 months, I did got 20 deals for the company,
Nice.
produced approximately 1.1 million in profit for the company. And then I said, okay, I've got all the skill sets I need. I've learned what I need to do. I already have the passion for it, the skills for it, and really there was one piece missing in starting my own company, which was that flipping houses is expensive. So
Hmm.
then the last step was figure out how am I going to afford running a house flipping business, and then
Well,
hit the
I would
ground
think
running
there'd
from
be
there.
two, I think there'd be three big differences between what you were doing and then getting into business for yourself. Number one is now you have to start generating your own leads. You have to get that phone ringing with people calling you and wanting you to buy their house. Number two, a house flipping business is a huge, you know, business as far as being hands on with construction type stuff. Like a lot of these houses, somebody has to fix them up. Doesn't have to be you, but you have to have a team in place that can actually do the work. And then, yeah, number three for sure, coming up with the cash to do these kind of deals. It is very cash intensive because you're telling people I can buy all cash, quickly type thing. That's the big appeal for a lot of people for doing business with you. So maybe maybe walk us through each one of those. So first of all, yeah, coming up with cash. So what did you do to solve that problem? That is a big one.
Yeah, so and you're exactly right. First of all, those are really the exact three things that I needed to figure out. I had the sales and acquisition skills, but where's the money coming from? Who's renovating the houses for me? Because it ain't gonna be me, right? And where am I generating leads?
Yeah.
So to get started on that, what I actually did was as soon as I ended up, I'm kind of a, you've probably heard the phrase "burn the ships," right? So that's kind of the type of guy I
Yes.
am. I went
So
ahead and
yeah.
quit that job.
Yeah.
And we left on great terms.
Okay, good.
The
I'm
owner of
glad to hear
that
that.
company is,
Yeah.
yeah, and the owner of that company is actually one of my big mentors. He's a huge supporter of me and my business,
Oh, that's
which
awesome.
I am absolutely blessed of, because that's not always the case
No.
when people leave. So I yeah, he's a massive supporter. Super happy about that. So I ended up leaving that company, put my 2 weeks in. I think I did 3 weeks just to help him out, kind of help him onboard the next guy and stuff like that. Um, and then I was jobless, and I decided, okay, well, I've got some reserves to figure this out, and that's exactly what I did. So the first call I made was actually to my previous boss
The insurance
at
guy?
the insurance agency,
Okay.
because him and I mean, I was his very first employee, worked for him for 5 years, great friends. And he was also in the real estate game, in terms of just using his cash to go buy rental properties. So if I
Ah.
remember correctly, he had maybe 6 rental properties, something like that.
Hmm.
And so we would talk real estate back when I was working in the insurance agency. We'd talk real estate all the time, all day, every day, and share knowledge and all that. And he always told me when I left to go work at this company, at the acquisitions company, he had told me when I left, he said, if you ever want to go start your own company, give me a call. And so that's the
Nice.
first thing I did. I left that company. I gave him a call, and pretty much pitched the idea of, you want to start a flipping company together. And pretty much that's exactly what we did. So he was ready to go. He was all in, and so he brought the funding to the table, and then he also brought some other things to the table. He also has a real estate license. This is a very ambitious guy. He's got this very successful insurance agency, but he also has a real estate license for selling the deals on the back end,
Hmm.
and real estate experience and everything like that. So he brought the funding and a lot of other things, and then I brought the very direct experience of
Hmm.
exactly what we need to do, in the inside out of the business model, right? Um, and then that was the first step: secure that funding and that partnership. And then from there, it was marketing, like you said, contractors, and I guess that's, yeah,
Well,
marketing
and
and
management, I
contractors.
guess. I mean, there's a big difference between
Management,
being the
yeah.
sales guy and managing the whole thing for sure.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, that's always actually what intrigued me most about being a business owner. I'm, I would consider myself someone that's very good at sales, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I want to be selling all day, every day.
Hmm.
I tend to be someone that's a little bit more inclined in the management side of things. So that was something I was really excited about, was sort of the business owner management side of things too.
Yep.
So for marketing, there's a million different ways to market. The idea is you're just trying to find motivated sellers, right? People that are
What do
motivated to
you
sell their
find works?
house.
What do you find works best for you these days?
So for me these days, I've actually made a bit of a shift. I'm working almost entirely with wholesalers.
Oh, okay.
So
Simplifies things.
wholesalers
Yeah.
and real estate agents. It's
Hmm.
exactly right. Simplifies things. So I know pretty much the ins and outs of doing my own acquisitions, but that doesn't necessarily mean I have a whole lot of time to do my own acquisitions. Because as you can
Right.
imagine, I mean, going on a 3 hour appointment, being on the phones all day, every day, follow up, it just takes a lot of time. So when we first started, we did our own acquisitions because we didn't have a bunch of flips in the pipeline, right? So I was fully focused on acquisitions.
Yeah.
Once we got those first few deals in the pipeline, and then we started having some money coming in from there, we had supplemented a couple of acquisitions through wholesalers. Those deals worked out really well, and so we said, well, I mean, as long as this keeps working, we'll kind of do a lot of this. So of the total deals we've done, I want to say we're probably about 30% of them have been our own acquisitions, direct to seller marketing and all
Yep.
that kind of stuff, talking to them and getting them under contract. And then the remainder of the 70% or so have been from wholesalers or real estate agents.
Very cool. Well, so the wholesalers, that one I get because the deal's already tied up. You just got to make sure that the profit margin works for you, the numbers work for you. But with a realtor, I would think that would almost be like you have to go in and negotiate and the whole bit, or are you just doing everything through a realtor making lowball offers and they accept them or they don't, and you don't really need to talk to the seller.
Well, so for in terms of a wholesaler, they're if you've ever worked with a wholesaler or tried to work with a wholesaler, you'll know that they do have a lot of deals, but they do not have a lot of deals that work.
Yeah, for
Right?
flippers,
So,
yeah, definitely, definitely
yeah,
not. Yeah,
I mean, it's a lot of weeding through to find the ones that the numbers actually work on.
yeah,
And it's a lot of negotiation. That's what I've had some people be like, "How are you finding deals from wholesalers? Everyone they send me, the numbers are way off." And I mean, I most of the deals I get from a wholesaler, I have to negotiate 15, 10, 20K below what they're asking, right? And sometimes that means them going back to the seller and renegotiating
well,
to be
they
able to
got
make the
they
deal
get to
work.
have that uncomfortable conversation with the seller.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
that's good.
exactly. So it's
They
it's
get the
kind of
they're the ones that get punted to the curve now. To the curve, yeah,
exactly. And I mean, for in terms of wholesalers, I really just look at it as a way of outsourcing the acquisitions, the
yeah,
sales guy, right? So that's what how I work with wholesalers. Now, in terms of agents, it's usually pocket listings. So really, it's just going to be those pocket listings where they end up. They have a huge network. Usually, these are agents that are have been in the game for a while, not necessarily the newbies.
yeah,
And they have people bring, refer them people that want to sell their house all the time. If it's list ready, then they list it, and then if it's something that needs some work or it's a really messy situation,
yeah.
I
So
had did one recently with
pre
the
foreclosures and estate sales and hoarders and all these kind of things. I would imagine.
Exactly. The most recent one I did with an agent was a divorce situation
Yeah,
where neither party could agree and listing it was going to be a nightmare, right? And so those are the situations where either that or it's just very distressed. So distressed
mhm,
seller or distressed property.
yeah,
And then like the agent will just bring it to me first and maybe a couple of other guys that they have on their in their phone, and they reach out and they just ask me, "Hey, you want to come out and give us an offer? We're not really necessarily looking to list. If we can get a good enough offer or as is, no due diligence, no repairs, nothing like that,
yeah.
then we'll take it." And so that's kind of how I work with agents.
Cool. All right, that's really smart. Now, last big piece of the puzzle, as far as I can see, is the actual construction renovation side of things, the crews. So how did you, that's you mentioned you're not really into swinging hammers. With the previous company, you were the sales guy, probably not very involved in the actual renovation side of things. So how did you find good crews and figure out how not to get ripped off?
Yeah, so there comes the biggest portion of luck, I would say, right? Because you never, the hardest part about flipping houses is having people that you can trust in terms of
Yeah,
renovation. And then if you do have that, then the construction side of things becomes the easiest part, right?
yeah,
So we really lucked out. It was actually my partner had a friend of his, never worked with him or anything like that. He just played soccer with him, and so he reached out to him and said, "Hey, we're about to start flipping houses. If you want to come give us a bid on our first property, and we'll compare it to any other bids we get, and we'll see what we want to do." And his bid was the best. We already had some level of trust with him, and so we went with it. And from there, that's now we use him on every single deal. So
perfect.
he's renovated every property. I think of all of the deals we've done, about 12 of them we renovated. So that's 12 renovations in the past 12 months. He's done every single one. He's got two crews he's running, and we're about to look into setting him up with a third crew. He's got some people on the sidelines that he just didn't have the
Didn't have
the,
the
the
volume
need
for.
for a
Yeah.
third crew. But with us bringing a bunch of properties to them, he's about to start a third crew, and we'll kind of keep it rolling from there.
Oh, that's exciting stuff. So remind me, at the time that we're recording this, it's kind of mid-June. How long have you been running your own flipping business now, Jeremy?
So we technically started in May of 2023, so 1 year and a month. Although we didn't actually buy our very first property until July of 2023. So we're kind of
Right.
right in between starting and buying our first property. So I'm just going to call it 1 year in the business.
Yeah.
And in the past year, we have done a total of 15 flips. So yeah, hit the ground running, and so far so good.
And you've got a few more in the pipeline, if I understand correctly.
That's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
got two in the pipeline. Feeling kind of dry. I need to fill it up. Got to get a
Yeah.
couple more for June.
Well, that is awesome. Congratulations on your success. Congratulations on transitioning from employee to business owner, on dialing in the efficiencies of the marketing, of serendipity, right? So it sounds like you're a very personable kind of guy, that you've stayed very close with both of your ex bosses, and your first ex boss is now your business partner,
Hmm.
and brings the capital and some of the realtor experience to the table as well. So that's fantastic. And the fact that, yeah, you're just kind of obviously very happy with this new business. So I'm very pleased for you, Jeremy. Now, for our listeners, if people want to find out more and connect with you, where can they go? What should they do?
Yeah, they can find me on Facebook. It's Jeremy Rice. So that's JeremyRice, like the food. You can find me on Instagram. It's Jeremy Alex Rice. And that's the gist of it. I'll be honest. I kind of hit the ground running. I don't even have a really functioning website or anything like that. I'm just out here hustling.
Well, it sounds like you don't need it. That's perfect. Well, thanks very much, Jeremy. And everybody, thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to you on the next episode. Take care.
I appreciate it, Dave.
Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if you want to listen to more daily interview content, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an active real estate investor and you're doing deals and you'd like to get featured on this show, then just head over to daveinterviewyou.com. Now, at moneypartnerformula.com, we help real estate investors to create a process for predictably getting capital so they can do more deals without relying on hard money lenders or the banks. We do this by building them a private capital marketing system. Now, if you want help turning yourself into a big money capital attraction machine, then book a call with our team to see how we can help. Just visit moneypartnerformula.com to find out more. All right, take care, and we'll see you on the next interview.